Aren't you tired of hearing "just use your ears" advice over and over again? Don't get me wrong, it's a good one, but analyzing by eye is the second most effective way to work with audio. In fact, you can skip the ear fatigue part, pick up masked issues and fix them way faster. Okay, so there are a lot of fancy visualizers with changing colors, tabs and graphs, but let's face it, it can quickly get distractive. What's more, majority of times you don't need that many information to get your mixes to sound great. Our Levels plugin is very simple to use and read. You can decide what's your main focus by switching between those 6 tabs. Just to start things off and get the most out of readouts, you need to choose a preset, either for mixing or mastering, and it will basically calibrate levels. Once you surpass recommended values, UI will glow red. Peak and LUFS meters probably sound familiar to you. Having a great sounding mix is all about compression, clarity and impact, and that's what Dynamic Range tab is for. The dynamic range is not relative to loudness of your music, so if it's overcompressed, the oscilloscope will turn red, regardless of how quiet your track may be. Next, we have Stereo Field with not only the famous vector scope to visualize your stereo spread, but also information about phase correlation and signal placement. You can easily listen to your mix in mono and side, left and right channels, as well as use filter function to isolate certain frequencies. Loudness range will measure the loudness variation of your entire track. This will give you an idea of the difference in volume between chorus, verse, and other sections of your track. I would recommend aiming for loudness range above 5 LDU if you want to create a track with tension, release, and big sounding chorus. If you're aiming to create a track with consistent energy, lower loudness range is totally okay. Last but not least, Bass Space tab. It's a total lifesaver in its simplicity. Once you mute the kick and bass, it will show you if there is really a room for them. This one will save your mix from being muddy and obviously delivers solid low end. Another major thing is to compare your mix to the mixes you like the sound of. With Reference, you can get useful information for easy adjustments. Key things to set up at first are playback and level match functions. Selected level match will accurately match the perceived loudness of the track you are working on and your reference tracks. With Free, you can navigate to any part of your reference track by clicking on the waveform. Mirror will match the playback location of your reference to your DAW. The most useful part of Reference plugin is called Trinity Display. Here you can tell how the EQ balance of your original song differs from your reference track, compare stereo field and short-term dynamic range, the amount of compression. Level line uses a complex algorithm created to identify how human ear perceives certain frequencies to balance the whole mix. If it's above 0 dB, you need to make a boost in that range to match to your reference. If it's below, cut this area with the same dB amount as shown on the left side. You don't always need to stay perfectly in 0 dB line. In fact, a difference around 2 dB means that your tonal balance is very similar to your reference. Stereo field is pretty simple, so let's move to punch dots. If you see them move towards to 0 dB line, that frequency band is more compressed in your original than in the corresponding range of your reference. If they move away, that frequency range is less compressed in your original track. Just like in levels, you can also filter certain frequency ranges. Simply just create a band and solo it by clicking on the display. And now for the ultimate quality control, there is Expose To. Unlike previous two, it's a standalone application which helps you identify problems and possible fixes just before the release. Once you drag your track into it, select where your track will be heard at the top, such as Spotify, YouTube, CD, etc. The 4 sections give you detailed information about loudness, peaks, stereo phase information, and dynamic range of your audio. If Expose finds problems, the section icon will turn red. The Feedback tab will give you specific guidance on how to adjust your audio to get the sound you're looking for. It's basically like asking for engineer's feedback, but it's less subjective and way cheaper. Compare EQ shows you how your average tonal balance compares to either imported reference track or a genre-specific preset. Positive readings show that your track has more perceived volume in those frequencies. Negative readings obviously show the opposite. You can check EQ balance for stereo, mid or side channels. So, to sum things up guys, we can clearly ditch this old advice because the combination of both visuals and sound can get you even further into achieving a great sounding mix. I use those three for every single mix I make. And if you want to try them out for yourself, follow my steps or just see if they work for you, don't forget to visit masteringthemix.com. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and comment and subscribe to our channel for more on mixing and mastering.